What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Hustle in the Huddle. We are here in New York for Fanatics Fest, and we kind of wanted to give y'all a special edition episode to talk about events. So, getting right into it, how to get access. We get asked a lot, how do we get into the events that we get into? For one, of course, we have our jobs, but for two, for example, something like Super Bowl, say if you get denied access, there's different ways around of getting into events at Super Bowl. Granted, there's not a way to get into Super Bowl without getting credentials from the NFL, but you can get into amazing events like Jordan has events, Nike, FanDuel, DraftKings, Adidas,
NFL,
almost
auction.
almost any brand that you can think of, you can get into that event without having Super Bowl credentials. So who to contact? You can go to whatever event that you see online. So say Nike is having a Super Bowl activation party, and you want to get into this event. So you'll find this website for this party. Sometimes it'll be posted on Instagram, or you can simply Google. On Location has a list of a lot of different events for Super Bowl. And this is not just Super Bowl, this could be for like if you want to go to NBA All-Star Weekend, any type of sports events. They have a lot of different activation parties if you don't get access through the league. So you can go to the website, go to their media page or their credential access page, and you can either reach out to the communications contact there or send an email and say, hey, I work for so-and-so, or I have my own brand. I'm looking to create content at this event. Who do I need to talk to inquire about credentials? What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think we need to take it a step back because you just jumped straight.
Yeah, we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, I mean, we should, but I think there's orders and process to doing that. So first things first, look at the event schedule of where you want to go and plan out accordingly, because you can start requesting access, but if you don't have it planned out as far as budgeting of where you're going to go, staying, connections of like making that list that Amber kind of was talking about of who to reach out to, you're just going to be in the wind trying to make stuff happen without, full details. So that's the first thing I feel like when it comes to getting access to events, knowing what events, and also being mindful of the events that you're signing up for, because the other thing is you don't want to go to places and not be like fully aware of what the event is, or, if you're just there to say you're there. If you're going to build connections, go build connections, be mindful of the connections, but like do your research behind it too. And that way you know how to better communicate with the people when you reach out to say, hey, I'm so-and-so of this company, or I'm so-and-so of my own personal brand, I'm reaching out. You can better explain why you being there makes sense and benefits to the brand. I think was a big part of it.
Well, a lot of things you really don't even have to explain. It really depends on the party. So for sure, do your research. I assume if you're going to these parties, you are working some type of media, or you have some type of vlog, or you have some type of company that you created, and you want to build your brand by going to events like Super Bowl or All-Star Weekend, or maybe even applying for credentials for a college basketball season, or applying for credentials for college football for a team like, so say TCU. So the direct proper channel is going to their media page, of course. And if you can't find the media page, you can look for the media contact and email them. LinkedIn. Like Liz said, do your research and know exactly who you're talking to, read the room right, and know exactly what you're going to say. You don't have to write an essay. Simply, hi, my name is Amber. I have my own brand, On Alert with Amber, or Hustle in the Huddle, and I cover women in sports, and I am looking to come to so-and-so's this game, Wings versus New York Liberty, capture women in sports. I want to capture some pregame content, some funny personality videos, and that's kind of what we do, and post it on my TikTok. Kind of give like a little background of what you're looking to do, because they will ask, okay, hey, they'll email you back and they're like, hey, what are you looking to capture at this game, or what are you looking to capture at this event? Because they also want to know how you're going to help them, how you're going to.
I would say also too though, share links if you already have things that you've done at previous events, like share your social media so they can go and view it to kind of help better sell that story, so you don't have to put too much detail like Amber was saying, but they can see and it speaks for yourself, like you just keep building up that work. And also that validates your credibility as well.
And some of them will ask for your social links, but two, there are people that's going to come in with, like, this is going to be their first event, right? So you don't have any type of anything to show, you know what I mean? So I would say don't go right in for Super Bowl, because some will deny you. So I would say start local. So try to cover your local teams. Mm-hmm. So if you stay in Dallas, try to cover some, not big Mavericks games, but like the
smaller.
Yeah, like Mavericks and Falcons.
Well,
nobody wants to see them.
Well, those are two separate leagues, so they never play each other. So Mavericks and Hawks, but who wouldn't want to see the Hawks?
They'll play each other.
The Mavericks and the Falcons?
Not Falcons, you know what I mean.
No, you know what I mean. Get it right. We're both dirty Mavericks, you gotta get it right now.
Nobody wants to see them. So
they do. Nobody wants to see them. You can
get access to that game easily. Mm-hmm. Or a Wings and Valkyries game. Valkyries is just now coming up. Mm-hmm. It's their first season of the league. So
college sports.
You can get into that. Definitely college sports.
Local high school.
I wouldn't go straight for the big college teams. Like if you're in Texas, I wouldn't go straight for the UTs. Those are kind of harder to get in. So I would try for a UNT or maybe even a SMU.
Community colleges.
Yeah, community colleges or even high school, just to try to build your content, build your
name.
And
big thing
what's
is
the word I'm looking for?
Your network.
No.
Portfolio.
Yeah. Build up your portfolio. So build up your portfolio with your local, because some of them too, like, what are you doing in your city? Like, what local work are you doing? And then try to go nationally, that you got all that content and all that, everything under your portfolio, then try to go nationally, then try to, go for the Super Bowl. That's kind of what I did with my On Alert brand. I did things in the city, and then I went and got my NFL credentials and then my NBA credentials.
Well, also to add to that, it kind of helps too, like when you work in those local channels, people start to get to know you and they can speak for you. Say you never know who knows somebody, so if you did work a community college game or you did happen to get to TCU or Clark Atlanta or whatever school, Kentucky, they might reach out to somebody that they know in that department, like, hey, can you vouch for this person's credibility, but also how they handle themselves in in those settings as well. Because another thing that you don't necessarily think about, like, you don't want to be get the opportunity to go be in these spaces and start fangirling out, and just because you haven't been to that level. So also just be mindful of how you carry yourself there, because people are always watching and it carries over into the next level. So just having some tactfulness to you and just being really, really mindful of how you present and how you come off. You can't just be in there and just be seeing all the other celebrities or your favorite athlete. Yeah, it's great, it's amazing. Like, everybody has those moments, like, you see your favorite athlete, how are you not going to be like, oh, that's so-and-so, but keep your composure, because people notice those things, and you don't want even though you build up this hard work and you have great content or whatever your thing may be, so people to come back but they're not the best in how they navigate in those spaces.
Because let me tell you, if Kobe was still alive, she'd have to talk to him, because baby, I need a picture, I need an autograph, I need a hug.
I'm like, Kobe, please excuse her. I'd be like, Kobe, please excuse her. Look. She knows no better. No decorum. And then you whisper on the side.
I am no longer in media if I see Kobe.
See, and that's where it's like,
we all got that people, some people like that with LeBron, some people like that with, Paige Buchers.
Yeah. But you get the work done first, and then you follow up and be like, okay, now that we handle business.
Well, you can't even be a fan. Like, if you're going to these events and you're working media, for one, you really can't even go with team gear on. Yeah. And you can't cheer. Even at school, a lot of people know that I work in the athletic department at TCU on the side. And I traveled with the women's basketball team to the Baylor game. And I forgot who made the shot. It was a three. I think it was Madison Connor. And I started cheering. I was on the sideline, where the scorecard was, because I was doing social media. And they was like, oh, you can't cheer. I was like, y'all gotta remember, I'm a student too. So it's you gotta remember, keep calm. You can be a fan, but you can't show that you're a fan.
It's a natural response to
it. It is, especially if you a diehard fan and you go to the school that you're working for. So for students, for sure, I preach this so much. If you are in school, work in your school, that's your easy access. That's the first thing you do. The first thing you apply for is credentials at your school, or go to your athletic department and let them know, hey, I want to work in the athletic department as a content creator, or work in media, photo editor, just to build up my portfolio and get experience so I can take it to the next level, whether it's for your career or if you want to build your own brand. Working in your school is the first step, because a lot of times when you go, I don't want to start tapping into interviews because that's another episode, but a lot of times when you go to these interviews, that's one of the things that they look for. Okay, you went to school, you graduated, but did you work in your school? Going to school and get a degree is amazing, but what work did you do in your school? You know what I mean? You gotta if you're looking to be a sports journalism, broadcaster, anything that got to do with sports, the one of the best things you could have did at school was working in your school, and then because that's experience. Because a lot of times you get these internships and they say
You can't go.
like you
can't
have to have
travel.
experience.
Yeah.
Even though it's an internship, and you're like, dang, where do I get the experience from? You get it at school, and that's what they want to see. Like tapping back to our first episode when I said I got denied from ESPN so many times, that there's like, yeah, it's not required to have experience for the internship, but it's preferred, and they're gonna take somebody who already have experience over me who. I go to TCU, but I didn't use it to my full advantage. I didn't work in my school. So they're going to take somebody who went to TCU, but they work in the athletic department. So always make sure you are taking advantage of every opportunity that you have, even the connections, tapping into the network. Even if you know somebody who not play for, but they work, for the Wings. Tap into that. They and a lot of them not paid. Like the Wings, their internships are paid. So if you have opportunities to work a non-paid just to build your portfolio, do that. Like don't shy away from something just because it isn't paid. Sometimes that non-paid opportunity is your only opportunity in the door. So you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
I'll say too, I mean, this is more of your space than mine because I've been able to get credentials through the work that I've done. So I don't necessarily have the most tips and tricks on getting credentials, but that kind of moves us into our next topic of moving into how do you finesse credentials when you've been denied. One thing about Amber, she's really great at getting credentials. And from what I've noticed with being with her and also our other friend, Brittany, who's also good at getting credentials and stuff, that there's a way they go about it of working through their network or, working through people that they've worked with in the past or anything else like that. So
and you gotta have a mouthpiece.
You gotta have a mouthpiece, but I just think for you, what would you say, like, what's the finesse to that from what you've learned?
For sure, you gotta have a mouthpiece. And I developed my mouthpiece over time, like with my friends, like Brittany, we should have brought her, and even Aaliyah, like, cause I can say I'm a leader, but I'm a leader in the room where I know I can be a leader. I don't really just walk in a room and take over it, and that's something that I'm working on myself because that's something that we want to teach women is to walk in a room and take over it, right? So we're all still building on something and learning from people in our network. That's why, like the last episode, it's good to have a support system and people that bring value to your life. So that's like one thing that my two friends bring. They bring that type of value to my life and help build that mouthpiece. So I would say, the tip is doing your research. And because that's how you're going to develop that mouthpiece is doing your research. You're going to know who to talk to and how to talk to them. So back to what I said at the beginning of the show, you got to reach out to those communication peoples, because if the NFL deny you for a Super Bowl, okay, let me see who I know that's going, who got credentials. Let me reach out to them, have them send me the event list, and then on the event list, there's emails to every person who's the contact for each event, and email them.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Amber. I have a podcast, Hustle In The Huddle, for women in sports. I think it would be amazing if I can come to this event, interview some of the women, and talk about blah, 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 blah. And when I tell you, it works 95% of the time. Like when I go that route, if I've been denied from the NFL and I go that route, works every time. And, same way with any other event, like All-Star Weekend, maybe, WNBA or NBA playoffs, NFL playoffs, hockey, like whatever sports event you're trying to go to, F1, like anything, go to those websites and find the communication, find that media page, find the contact, and email them. And if they don't respond, it's not really because they don't want to, they're just busy. Do that follow-up. I would say follow up about 2 times, and you got to do this early too. So, and I use Super Bowl for example because for one, this is one of the biggest sports events in the world, right? And it's an event everybody want to go to the Super Bowl. And I feel like they have some of the best activations, they have some of the best events.
I would say too, though, to your point though about follow up, please be mindful how you follow up though. Don't be aggravating. Be like, hey, I didn't see your response. Want to know if this happened. Like,
and that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah, be tactful about it.
So the credential process opens up around November for Super Bowl. So you want to get in there early, right? So say you get in there early. You get denied around December, January. And then right at that moment you get denied, start reaching out to those people. So that way it gives you time, if they don't respond, it gives you time to follow up. Because you don't want to follow up, oh my God, they didn't respond today, let me follow up tomorrow. You don't want to do that. I say plan it out, give yourself some time. So say, Super Bowl is February 3rd, it's January 14th, you haven't got and then here comes January 17th, you haven't got a response. So I say give yourself probably about a week. Follow up, hey, reply back to your same thread. Hey, my name's Amber, just, following up here.
Want to see if anything has changed?
Yeah, what is there anything that I can send you? Sometimes this year, it was so last minute with our credential approvals. Like we didn't get approved for a lot of things till the week before. So just give it some time. A lot of the events are really last minute.
Well, also too, following the people you follow on social media that you have, whether it's a social media connection with an in-person connection with, follow them and see what events they're planning to go to. And, if you have a good relationship, now granted, if you've never spoke to this person, I'm all for shoot your shot. Hear me out. I'm all for shoot your shot, but doing it in a tactful way of okay, if y'all go back and forth on social media, exchanging pleasantries and stuff, and you feel comfortable enough to say, hey, I see that you're attending this event. I also love to attend this event. Who can I reach out or be in contact to? Or do you have a +1? Would you mind if I attended with you? To see if that's an option too. I think that's also really helpful because sometimes even going as a guest, you can still get in the room and get in the space and present yourself of what you do to the point of next year is no question that, oh, I met her, she was there at that event, of course she should come. Of course I can improve her for this credential. And be mindful of when you get in those rooms, look for who the person you need to talk to. Make sure they know you, make sure they remember your face and remember your name. So when it comes back up for the next year, it's not a question. It's oh, of course, Amber, I'm gonna have her in there.
Exactly. Yeah. When you get to those events, definitely make it memorable. So because Super Bowl is every year, right? So all these events is every year. So you want to build those relationships and make those connections. Because a lot of those people, they know other people for other events. You at a Nike event, they know people for Adidas. Even though it's competition, they know people for the Jordan event. You know what I mean? So, and then you never know. This can get you a job. A lot of people have built careers. You never know. You can go to these events as a fan too sometimes, and it's oh my God,
I want to at any point.
Yeah, I came here as a fan. I didn't get credentials at all. But I'm trying to get to space. So, say that's another thing. Say you went these steps that me and Halil are talking about, and you still get denied, right? Because you just really don't have a portfolio. Go as a fan. Yeah. A lot of this stuff is open to the public.
Sometimes you gotta pay the price to get in.
Yeah. Some things, is private only for athletes. Like the Jordan event, it's only for athletes and their family. But we finessed our way into that too. You can. It's really about who you know. For a lot of these events, it's really about who you know too. And like I said, having a mouthpiece.
I think that just brings us to kind of the thing I was talking about, prepping wise, how to prep. If you had to give, let's say 5 tips or 5 steps to prep to get your way into events, what would you say your 5 are? And I'll give my 5.
I would say research, have a plan, an itinerary. A lot of these events are back to back, so make sure you're going to the event that makes most sense for you. Don't just go to it because, oh my God, I want to go to a Nike event. Because all of these parties, they do give gift bags, swag bags. So, you're here to build your brand. Granted, you want to have fun. This stuff is amazing. But you're also here to build your brand. You're here to network. So make sure you're going to events that make sense. I would say if you're by yourself, make sure you have your equipment. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure I would say dress professionally. You want people to take you serious. If you're coming in there, don't look like a fan. Look professional.
Boy brand gear.
And talk professional too as well. I mean, be authentic. I feel like I gave 6. I don't know. Definitely be authentic. That should have been my number 1. Be yourself. They can tell if you're a robot. They can tell if this is not you. I don't even know you, but I can tell this ain't you. I can tell you just trying to kiss my ass. So be yourself. Be authentic. People love people who are authentic. I feel like I gave 5 or 6.
I really had 5, but my 5 would be, I was counting, really 4.
Good.
But my 5 would be 1, research, create a calendar of events that you want to attend, and research who are the point of contacts or people on social media that you have a relationship and follow to then get the access 2, set your portfolio, or making sure that you have the necessary things to show that, hey, I could be in this space and this is what I'm bringing to the space. And if you don't, like Amber said, then plan to attend as a fan, but how to work your way into the spaces of, okay, now I'm in the space of talking like a partner, talking like a sponsor, talking like a, creator, whatever your avenue is. Make sure you know how to transition once you get in the room, because you can get in that room and somehow end up on the other side of the table, which is amazing, but you just have to be mindful of how you do that.
Because sometimes you're going to get denied for credentials. You, I forgot my train of thought.
See, because you cut me off. Thank you.
You cut me off earlier. I ain't trying to hear you. Okay. Sometimes you can't get credentials, so sometimes you have to pay. And sometimes you don't have the mouthpiece to get you in. So sometimes you just have to pay your way in. And that's okay. Like, it's okay because you're investing in yourself.
So back to me, like I was saying before I was cut off. Thank you. 3, once you are in or you do get those credentials, go in, be yourself, and really present your business in the best way possible. Develop that mouthpiece. You don't have to be the best talker. You don't have to be persuasive. You don't have to be a salesperson. But if you show up and show as yourself, people will gravitate to that and want to have you around and be in these spaces. And like I said, you could be at that one place where you're not paid or where had any type of situation, and you get invited somewhere else that wasn't on your radar that you want to transition or move over to. So that's really great too. So always be open to the other opportunities. I would say what before for me is like, don't go in with tunnel vision. Yes, you should have a vision, but don't be so focused on one thing that you miss any other opportunities that come about, because you may have been focused on, I need to meet this person, I need to be at this event, but somebody else could have met you, really liked you, like, hey, I want to invite you to come to this next event. Or you could have
higher pull than the person you're trying to get
to. Exactly. Or, you could be met with a person of high standard that really likes you and develops a relationship with you and just invites you to come out and be in places, and not even on a business tip, but business, like regardless of wherever you go, business is always being spoken or taught. Just how it goes. You may not even want to talk about business, but business is still going to come up. So, if you are with somebody who is a higher status than you and y'all have a good relationship, just be prepared to talk about business. You're selling yourself. You're a brand. Regardless of what you do, you are a brand yourself. So be mindful of your brand and how you're presenting your brand, because then that moves into 5 of once you get those credentials and you start to finesse how to keep it, you can lose it the same way you got it. So always be on your P's and Q's and be mindful, because don't get comfortable.
Yeah, you don't want to get on the no invite list. We've had friends that's been put on the no invite list. So you never want to be that person. You never want to be that girl that, you can come in, but your friend cannot, because we worked with her last year and we did not like her business. We didn't like her personality. We didn't like how she treated our clients. So, just hold yourself to a standard that you to the same type of the person that you would want to work with.
You have to have that don't get comfortable mentality, because as soon as you get on, you can get knocked off. And it's that easy to slip. Like, nothing is guaranteed to you. Nothing is promised. You're not owed anything. Everybody is always hustling. The people, even the top dogs, are still hustling to be, there's always somebody's trying to achieve or look up to or reach that status. So, don't be comfortable would be my last thing, because you need to always move as if this could be taken from you tomorrow. So, one thing about credentials, like Amber said, we're both still working on things. Me personally, I'm working more so towards how to put myself out there to get more credentials and attending events. Like, I know a good amount of people, but like I said, using my own tips on how to do her things that Amber said, and vice versa for her. She's working on more of her mouthpiece and like talking to people. Even though I can selectively choose when I want to be very social and talk to people, like, you just have to be mindful of that and how you go about it and move. And also, if you do have a friend or a partner that you work with, y'all play off each other's strengths. Where, I may have the mouthpiece at time. Amber's very good at securing the credentials. So, like, one of us pulls them in, the other one seals the deal. Like, that can work in your favor, too. Like, working with what you got.
Yeah, and I would say, too, last thing is having people in your corner, just to tap off what she said, having people in your corner that have different capabilities than you. Like she was saying, like, one person got the mouthpiece, the other person can seal the deal. Everybody in your group can't, not have a mouthpiece. Somebody got to take over the room for all of y'all. If you feel more reserved and you like, okay, I can get the deal done, I just need you to start it. You know what I mean? So, and then, that energy, builds off on you. Like, dang, my friend she walk into a room and control it, like, and that energy can feed off into you, and you become that person too. So I always have those type of people, in your circle, even if they're not business partners, but a lot of these events you can bring a plus one. So make sure, that's another thing. Make sure you bring in a plus one that looks good on you, because I'm a representation of her. She's a representation of me. So you want to make sure you bring in somebody who knows how to handle themselves around celebrities, know how to act in public, period. They're dressing professionally, they're acting professionally, because you don't want to be that person like, oh no, we can't invite you because you're gonna bring that person that we didn't like last year, like, you know what I mean? So I ain't gonna lie, like I feel like it's probably, this one event in Super Bowl I can't go to because this lady don't like my friend. So we don't even apply for credentials for the event no more. So
oh my gosh. Well, on that note, y'all make sure y'all keep up with our social medias, our Instagram, our TikTok, and our YouTube, where we post our episodes. We do Finesse Fridays. This is where we are going to give some good tips. So we probably will tap Brittany for her finesse tools on how to get credentials. So be on the lookout for that. But we will see y'all next time back at the huddle. So make sure you get out there and hustle smart, huddle hard, and we'll see y'all back at the huddle next episode. Bye.